Hi there, my name is Charlie DeShulo, aka DJ Cheddar, and today I'm with...
Camarie Jones.
How you doing, man?
What's poppin' with you?
I'm chilling. Thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate you taking the time and energy to do this. So let's just start off with some of the basics. So how long have you been rapping for?
I've been rapping since I was 11 or 12.
Really?
Yeah,
So how old are you now?
I'm 22.
Okay, so you've been rapping for a decade. Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't say like a decade. I would just say like, I didn't really start, getting serious with my career until I was like, 14, 15.
Okay.
Because when I was like 11 or 12, I just thought of it as a hobby. I wasn't taking it seriously. I was just playing around with it,
So do you mostly freestyle or do you write your music?
A mixture between both.
Okay. Which do you prefer?
I love freestyling, but at the same time, as being a hip hop artist, I think that to respect the hip hop craft, to write, that's what I like to do.
Fair.
Sometimes, but like when I'm like working on a hook, I like to freestyle a hook, and then when I have something solid down, then I write it.
Okay, that's awesome. Have you found success in that method?
Yeah, a lot of amongst my homies, a lot of people say, oh, he's like a dope hook writer.
So the reason we were doing this interview is because you performed at the Big Bag Theory tour. How long have you been performing for? Can you tell me about your first show?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I done mad shows.
Okay.
Like since I was from me being 11 to where I'm at now, I look back at my growth and how much I became a real talented artist. Mm-hmm. And I always like to humble myself and just I never like to get too cocky. But I'll say my first show, the first time I ever performed was at this nonprofit organization called Zoomix. Shout out to Zoomix. And they are kind of where I became the artist that I was. I started with Zoomix. They're nonprofit located in East Boston. And I wasn't even rapping at that time. I did mostly breakdancing, Michael Jackson type stuff.
Really? You can dance?
Yeah. I still breakdance if I'm in the mood for it, but it's not something that I take very seriously now, but don't get it twisted. I can still, do a couple here and there.
So how often do you perform?
Lately, I've been performing almost every week.
Wow.
It's non-stop back to back. I'm also on the Big Bag Theory tour. Shout out to Hustle Killer. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Greatness. Shout out to all the homies that I work with. Syph, Lib, Melodic, C Fendi, J Makes Beats. Shout out to Juice Money. Shout out to D Block the Party. Shout out to everybody at HK. Shout out to Jordan. Definitely shout out to Big Nico Hustle again. He's been helping out a lot of dope artists in the city and making a family out of HK and stuff.
How did you meet him?
I met Nico just through HK, Greatness told me to pop out to Hustle Killer. And me, I've been around a lot of hip hop scenes in Boston. So I'm kind of cool with a lot of older G's in the city and stuff.
So what are your thoughts on sort of the current Massachusetts rap scene?
We're at a weird spot right now. But
Okay.
I was lucky enough to be in almost a lot of scenes in the city.
Okay.
I was part of, I'm not gonna say I was part of, I'm still part of Rec Shop Movement.
Okay.
Rec Shop Movement is what really did help me a lot get my name in the underground hip hop scene, because my first video I've done with Rec Shop, it was me freestyling in station, that went viral on IG, not IG, but Facebook. And that was my first ever video that hit 20.2K views.
Wow.
And I was only 16 at that time. I was probably one of the youngest Rec Shop members. But I will say, just the current state in the city is just it's a lot of envy, jealousy. But one thing I do tell people is once you're in the scene, everybody knows who you are. Mm-hmm. The city is small. I know a lot of artists in the city. And it's not like a bragging thing. Be like, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. It's generally, there's so much people in the scene that when you go to events, it's you'll see a bunch of people dapping people up because it's we see each other around.
Yeah.
And if we have not bumped into each other, we will eventually bump into each other because that's the way it works. It's damn, I never seen him before. Next thing you know, you're at an event, boom, who's that?
So do you mind talking a little bit about Rec Shop?
From my knowledge, it started with Justice Born.
Okay.
And Rec Shop has been around since the 90s.
Wow.
And we used to have this thing called the subway ciphers in the train stations where we would go to different train stations and rap. But the biggest one we had was in downtown, which attracted a lot of people. And I was grateful to be a part of that. And I was able to be around a lot of dope, talented artists and be able to perfect my freestyling craft. Because people always ask me dang, how you get so good at freestyling? I've been freestyling a lot. I've been in a lot of ciphers.
What is the next milestone for you?
My next milestone is just, being able to still keep doing music, but also, like, I tell people this, I don't want to be famous. I really don't. I would love to do big shows, but I like to be respected as like an underground MC and be known on the underground scene. But like, I think when you start doing that, fame comes with it. I just rather be someone that's known for my artistry and craft. I don't want to be Mr. Oh, I want to be famous for women, none of that. Because me personally, I think that's cheesy. Because you be famous quick, and next thing you know, your downfall is quick.
No, that's fair.
And a lot of artists don't understand that. Like nowadays, labels will sign you because you're hot. But if you can't keep that hotness going for however consistency you can do that, a label will be quick to drop you.
Yeah, facts, 100%. Have you ever thought about signing for a label, or do you like being independent?
I'm not on a label. I'm currently independent, but like I've had talks of like people who who have independent labels and want to be signing me and stuff. But like I'm not really into like the whole signing labels thing. Like to me, when people are like, oh nah, bro, get industry ready. I tell people, yeah, you might think I'm industry ready, but to me, I still want to be like I want to be able to go in with a bang. I don't want to be Mr. Sign to a label quick.
Where do you see yourself in like 5 years with your craft?
Not where I'm at right now. 5 years, hopefully I'll be doing, bigger shows and stuff. I'm not even gonna say hopefully, I will be doing bigger shows. I don't like to say hopefully, I like to say when or I'm going to, because I like to speak things into existence. When people say, damn, hopefully I get this money next week, nah, it's you will get this money next week. It's never like, you just wanna keep that same energy.
So you were talking about a little bit earlier that you want to be continuing in the underground scene. So were there any underground rappers that were some major inspirations for you, for your music, your style?
Definitely. Like, are we talking about Boston artists or just regular?
Really any.
I'll give out my top artists in the city I rock with, and then generally listen to their music, and then I'll give out major industry artists. Top artists in the city that I like to listen to, but you guys should definitely check out is my bro, Cashy 2 Times, my homies, Melodic, C. Fendi, Def, Syph, Lib, Wish City Just, D-Block the Party.
So these people are sort of your contemporaries as well. Do you think they help elevate you and elevate your craft? Do you think they push you? Or do you take like inspiration from them? Or is it just like, you just kind of just rock with their music, you like them as a person, that sort of stuff?
I think as artists, we all take a little bit here and there from every artist. But I will say, like, I respect what they're doing in the city and the name they got for themselves. Me, one thing I always say, I'm never shy to give somebody their flowers. A lot of artists they're so held back and not want to give someone they know, like, a big shout out on a platform. Like, just by saying your homie's name, man, like, I hate when, like, that really gets on my nerves when I see artists be like, nah, they like to gatekeep and not want to put their homies on. But, like, Boston would be 10 steps ahead of other states if we really were able to show that support. And, like, but nah, there's not a lot of artists that do that. I forgot the name, my other homie, Exo Shaquem. He's been doing his thing as well. There's a lot of artists that are out there in the scene. My homie Dari, he goes by Dars, and there's a lot of artists I rock with that I just gotta give shout out to support too.
Moving in the future, if you could have a collab with any artist, dead or alive, who would you like to have a collab with? Prodigy, interesting choice. Why is that?
Because I'm a huge fan of Mobb Deep. A lot of people ask me like why I use the word thun in my raps a lot. If you listen closely to my music, you hear me a lot of say like thun. And I'm not from New York, but like I think that's a word that a lot of people don't bring up no more, thun. So when I say the word thun, people are like, what do you mean by that? And it came from Prodigy and Havoc. They started saying that word thun because one of their homies had like a speech impediment. And he used to say, like he would try to say son, but it'll come out like thun. But they thought it was cool. Next thing you know, it became a worldwide thing. Jay-Z was saying it, Fabulous was saying it.
Interesting.
A lot of like New York rappers in the 90s were saying it, but it's not common right now. But to me, I'm heavily influenced with the 90s. And if it's not Prodigy that I would do a song with, of course Biggie's.
So you're more into the 90s sort of
Yeah.
like rap. Would you characterize your music as that? Like 90s boom bap? Or like are you trying to take like a new approach to the boom bap?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
My style of dressing is 90s. The way I talk sometimes is 90s. And the way I move is like very old school. I get that from a lot of people. They're like, bro, something about you. It's like, you look like you're not from this generation. I tell people, yeah. I tell myself I'm not from this generation, but I think I was meant to be in this generation to, you know, bring back the essence of where things began. But my music, I never try to put my music in one box. I always try to let people know that my music is, you know, it's different, it has different vibes.
I even noticed that, especially on your newest album. So did you freestyle on that album? Did you write it? Can you just talk a little bit about it?
I think Expand for me was probably one of my biggest upcoming projects that a lot of people are looking forward to. Like I remember one thing that really caught people's attention was the album work.
Yeah, the album cover was amazing, man. It really brought me back to like the 90s sort of era of hip hop.
That's why a lot of people really tuned into it. And even now, it's like, I think that's probably one of my biggest albums. Like, I dropped it in a week, and I guarantee you, less than a week, I already hit like 1,000 streams on the project.
That's amazing, man. Yeah.
And then for my album release party,
Are there any like standout songs that you think people should check out? What's your favorite song on there?
I have 3 favorite songs. One, of course, is Pain in My Eyes, dedicated to my homie, Asaf, aka Isaiah. He passed away in a car crash.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I wrote that for him and my other friend, Alex, that passed away. My next favorite song would be Tim's. I'm on the ropes between Is You Ready and Sleeping Dogs Part 2.
Okay.
Those
okay.
are like probably like my top favorites. I listen to a lot.
I think Expand is definitely one of your best albums. So did you go into that album like with a goal? Did you go in or did you just go in and decide to make a bunch of music and end up being an album?
It really started with just me, like, you know, going to my homie's Melodic's crib, and like we were just like recording a lot of music, and it was really crazy because I wasn't even really trying to work on the album. I was just trying to be, you know, just record music. Then he told me, he was like, yo, bro, you have way too much damn music. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, bro, you have a lot of music. What do you want to do with this? I was like, guess I can just do an album. And I kid you not, this is not me trying to be, you know, whatever. I can drop an Expand Part 2.
You should, man.
Because I have a lot of music under the bolts. And I know if I were to do that, a lot of people, like, I'm talking like, the album itself probably has like, I think like 20 songs, probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Good amount. But like, even my homies was telling me, they're like, bro, you have way too much damn songs on this project. They did not want me to drop it without my songs. But I told them, this is what I told them. I know not everybody's gonna listen to it fully, but I know like true people who listen to albums will listen to it, because nowadays we don't get hour-long albums, besides maybe with Kendrick or J. Cole. But like nowadays people want to limit it to like 10 songs. And back in the days, people would drop like a whole like 20-song album.
Have you ever performed like elsewhere besides like sort of the New England area, or just in New England?
I performed in Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island.
I'm assuming you're local to Boston, correct?
Yeah, I have a big, not say big following, but I'm very known in the city.
By the end of this year, so the end of 2022, what do you hope to accomplish with your music?
I'll say definitely have more videos from the Expand project out, and definitely be able to elevate to bigger shows.
Do you have any new music coming out, or do you have any songs that you just released? What music do you want the listener to hear?
Definitely keep streaming the Expand album. I would say I have a bunch of material still in the vaults, but I also have a bunch of other music that I will be releasing soon. So just be on the lookout for that. And definitely go check out the Lana Nana music video. Sleeping Dogs Part 2 music video will be out probably either this week. So definitely go check that out.
That's awesome, man. So I'm just kind of thinking about this. You've been doing music since you were like 11 or 12, right? What motivates you to do like the music that you're doing? You know, like you're still making videos. You said you have a ton of unreleased songs. That takes some sort of motivation, some dedication. What is making you do this? Like, what motivates you to get up in the morning and make a song?
What really motivates me I'll say just, I always had a calling. Like, I always felt like music was my calling. It's like, it's like for someone that plays basketball, like, it's a motivation thing because you, like, someone feels like it's their calling. When you feel like something is meant for you, it shouldn't need to take no motivation. What it should take is just like a lot of willpower and being able to say, hey, this is my calling. This is something that I'm destined to do. It shouldn't really, like, take a lot of second guessing. I mean, in this music scene, a lot of people do second guess themselves. And sometimes it might not be someone's calling. They just might do it for fun. But when you know it's like your calling and you have a love for it, it goes a long way.